Yo, it's the Sporting Tribune today, and as you can see, we're not in my office, we're not in the studio, we are in the headquarters of the back-to-back WNBA champions, and we're joined by a champion herself, Alysha Clark. How are you, and welcome on to the show.
Thank you for having me, and I'm great. I've been enjoying this off season, so I'm great.
You've got plenty of reasons to enjoy it, and I know like this week in particular, right, you've been getting to connect with the fans, like in person, not just on social media, not just at the games, but like getting connect and feel and getting to talk. So how has that been? And also the transition into living in Vegas, like the city that everyone comes to turn up, like you get to live in it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's been great. The events that we had this week, for us as athletes, we get to play in front of these fans night in and night out. So the opportunity to be able to connect with them outside of just games and quick hellos and goodbyes is always really special because, they're investing their time and their money and, time with their family to come watch us play and do what we love. So to be able to just, have a couple days where I can sit and talk with them and, just really connect is special. And I was so, I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I'm like, it's a Monday at 5, people are getting off work.
Yeah.
But man, they showed up. And just to see that many people wearing my jersey or my shirt or having things, that for me that's so special because that hasn't always been the case throughout my journey in this league. And so to see that many people show up, back-to-back nights like that, it meant everything.
No, that's amazing. And you talk about your journey, it's so cool that we're doing this here. Because my next question, you talk about the journey and how things were before and how things are and how things are going to be.
Yeah.
I think it's super important to document that we're doing this at your home, like your professional home, the headquarters. The logo looks beautiful, the court, everything.
The
and we'll
TV back there with the picture, the championship pictures, this is...
Yeah, and that wasn't like that before in some of the teams that you are in the growth of the league. So if you could, just real quick, touch base on to give people a point of view of how it used to be and how good it is to have your locker room, have a place where you can put your stuff and come in whenever you want to. You want to come in at 4 a.m. to shoot some hoops, you can do all of that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, we used to practice in a church gym and then having a locker room upstairs that wasn't ours, but that was the space that we were in, to then being in a Division II, school that, again, we're sharing a locker room that wasn't ours. We had to be in their locker room, in their space. And then going to a hybrid of an NBA, WNBA space, and it's wow, these are the resources that are available. These are the things that we can get to and have. So that was really cool. But even still, we had to share space with the G League team, so it wasn't necessarily just always ours. But then being here, everything is ours. Everything is about us. Everything is about the Aces. Like you said, I can leave my stuff. I don't have to usually after season, within those next 3 days. You have to pack up your locker, your apartment, you got to get out. And so to be able to be in a space where it's I'll get to that when I come back in town. It's not, there's no rush to it because it's our space. That's huge. And, this was the precedent that was set from Mark, just being able to invest in us, give us a headquarters and a space that's just for us. And so I hope as we continue to move forward, you're starting to see other owners get on board now. And so hopefully at some point you're going to see, because right now we're at 12, we'll have 14 teams. So you'll have all 14 teams having dedicated spaces just for us as WNBA players. And that's what we're working for. And that's why we're working so hard and planting these seeds that we have been over the years, because we want this league to be great. And, we want to leave it better than we found it when we got in here.
Setting a new standard, which is incredible. And now I got to ask you a tough question. Because you're a multiple-time champion. As a matter of fact, I think it's hilarious that you beat Vegas to get a ring, and now you win with Vegas to get a ring. Not to get messy, I'm just saying these are just facts. Now I have to ask you to pick from your babies. Which one means the most to you? She's like, don't ask me that.
Oh, man.
Or how about this? What does this championship with Las Vegas mean to you?
Yeah, because I was gonna say they're all special. To be able to win your first one is something you'll never forget, and that's the first taste of it. And then obviously being able to share that with my parents and my family. And then the second one, it was bigger than us. Being in the bubble and fighting for injustices and those things, it was bigger than us. And so that was special. But then this one, just the group and the dynamic of players that we had, the adversity that we faced all season, the way that people kind of like fell in love with us and then hated us, but then like loved us. And
we're gonna get into that, I promise.
Having like injuries and all the adversity like behind closed doors, and the way that everybody chose to show up and be professional and like, rally around one another to like lift each other up, like that is special. And it was my first, championship to be able to close out in a Game 4, like the way that it was, the fashion that it happened in such a big basketball city, and I had so much fun. So like this one was by far the most fun I've had winning and playing in my seasons.
And I think it's cool, like look at your career, and I know you've talked about it. You've had every role in this league, starter to being cut, playing overseas, like all of it. And like for me personally in my career, I've had a couple moments this year where I was like, yo, this is what I wanted to do when I was a kid. But I could be like, I'm not Stephen A. Smith though. I still got plenty more work to do.
Yeah.
For you, you've reached these titles and you've done this. You've won multiple rings. Where does the motivation come?
Never wanting to be complacent. That's something that
that's when you're done.
Yeah.
When you feel like that, honestly.
Yeah, and for me, like that's how I live my life. I never want to feel like I've arrived at anything, because there's always so much more room for improvement. There's always so much more room for growth and understanding and learning. And so I just want to make sure that I'm never complacent with where I'm at, but also like being grateful. And that's a hard balance. Yeah. But for me, it's being in the moment and being like, look at what I've been able to do. Look at what I've been able to accomplish. It's a blessing. But like, then having that conversation with yourself, like, okay, well, you're still not there yet. Like, you can improve here. You can do this. And so, and not just on the court. That's in life in general for me. So I think the not ever wanting to be complacent is what motivates me. And conquering challenges is something that like I thrive on. And it's like, you're gonna put something in front of me, I'm gonna figure out how to get it done. It may take me a little bit, but that's okay, but I'm gonna figure it out. And so those two pieces are what drives me every single day.
No, I love to hear it. And you talked about this championship being the most fun you've had. So we need to get into it. We got a lot to pick from, whether it's the flight back into Vegas, then going to Dre's, the championship parade, the Usher show.
Oh man!
Like, can we get a couple stories
like,
that haven't been told yet?
What is life? That's all I keep saying. I'm like, what is life? I mean, I feel like all the stories. Shout out to Sydney, who's
she was like,
talked about everything. Went on live, did all the things. So I feel like everybody knows all the stories. But no, it's been like so many moments in the last month and some change where I've just been like, what is life? Because the way that like the city and everybody here took care of us, like, and celebrated us, that was so dope and like so special. And I mean, they treated us like the champions that we are. And again, that's not something that happens to this level. Like this, everything about my year here, it's like everything has been elevated. And as Asia Wilson would say, everything has been top tier. But it really has. Like the way that these, restaurants and clubs and owners of are showing up like, yo, we want to celebrate, you guys come. That's so dope to me. You know what I mean? Like just to think back, even at the beginning of my career 12 years ago, it wasn't like that. You know what I mean? So to be in this space and Usher bringing us on stage, like what else do we need?